Hello, friends. I want to say a few things about a very favorite passage of mine from our friend in the Shambhala Vajrayana Buddhist tradition, Pema Chodron. And a lot of us know the name Pema Chodron. She's really one of the preeminent, most widely known, and deeply respected Buddhist teachers in the world. I think it is fair to say. She holds Manjushri's sword of wisdom with great tenderness and great compassion. She's a very gifted spiritual teacher. And she has a short passage I'd like to read to you, and that is, the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. They come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief, for misery, for joy. Isn't that lovely? The truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and fall apart. It's just like that. I'm responding to that, I think, in my heart these days, because these are such challenging times. And what I'm aware of is hearing a statement of truth like this. Things fall apart. They come back together. They fall apart. It's just like that. This is how it is. And then she gives us an invitation on how to relate to that, creating room, loving room for all of that to happen within us and around us. What I notice is I have a softening. I have like a relief, a sense of relief in my heart when I hear this, even though what's implicit in what she's saying is suffering. Pain is implicit in what she's saying. The truth of things falling apart. The truth of sickness, old age, death, separation, right? Sickness, old age, death, and separation are the first four of what are called the 5 remembrances, or 5 recollections in the Buddhist tradition. The 5 remembrances are there to remind us of the inevitability of things falling apart, coming back together and falling apart. And what's in my experience that I think I'm trying to relay to you is that my heart does something when it hears something true, when it just recognizes reality for reality, even if that reality includes pain, even if that reality includes suffering. And that is that I experience relief. And all that shows me as a practitioner is the humbling truth that I have been carrying some degree of resistance, denial, maybe delusion in myself around what is real. And so when I am given and I am shown what is real, the relief I feel comes from being able to set that part of me that's fighting it down and go, yes, this is how it is now. That alignment with truth, that being in concert or being in harmony with what is real, gives me a felt sense of relief. And a dear friend of mine who is much more scholarly, much more educated in the oldest of the Buddhist scriptures, the Pali Canon, we call them, the traditional scriptures written down in the language of Pali that are purportedly the words of the historical Buddha. There are many, many hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of pages in the Pali Canon. He reminds me that one of the phrases that's heard over and over and over at the end of all of these descriptions of a teaching given by this awakened being, given by the Buddha, was describing the heart of the crowd, the heart of the listeners, right? The heart state of those who bore witness to truth. And that phrase is, it gladdened their hearts. They listened to the truth and it gladdened their hearts. And oftentimes, and those of you who've read any of the original Pali teachings of the Buddha know that flaming sword of truth is something he wielded with great skill. And nevertheless, truths like sickness, old age, death, separation are not easy for us to hear. Yes, they are true, but our defense against that truth, our resistance to hearing and knowing and feeling it is significant. For many of us, it's very significant, those defenses, right? So when we use our imagination to put ourselves in the presence of somebody wise enough and compassionate enough, like the Buddha, who is giving truth, this is the unvarnished truth, and to describe their response to that truth as heart gladdening, I feel it's profound. And it resonates with me now because of what I feel in my own heart when I hear Pema's words about things not getting solved, but just falling apart and coming back together. I'm realizing that relief that I have is a gladdening. There's a gladdening of my heart because something has just become a little more clear. And the delusion, the resistance, the denial, the defense that I was holding is something that I have set aside. I want to be in relationship with what is real, even if it is in fact painful. And that I will actually experience that relationship as having a dimension of relief, of heart gladdening. And I believe this speaks to a really deep part of us, a really deep part of human consciousness that recognizes truth and rejoices in it. Way past our preference for pleasure or pain, part of us, the most awake, alive, enlightened, loving part of us that rejoices in what is real, that rejoices in the truth and doesn't rejoice in falsehood, that is relieved to hear what is real. So I offer that to you because we are exposed these days to many difficult truths, challenging truths, truths of suffering, truths of pain. And I encourage you to notice in yourself if there is any part of your heart that is relieved or gladdened, that it is in relationship with something that is real, right? No more veils, no more blinders. This is what is real. Can you notice that maybe there's a part of you that actually experienced that as a lightening? It certainly doesn't change the pain of the truth that's being revealed, but it certainly decreases the amount of suffering that we add with our normal resistance to that. So I invite you to look into your own experience, your own felt experience, to see if you notice that, and include that in your awareness. You know, find some gratitude and some space in that relief and some rejoicing in knowing I am in relationship with something that is more real than I was before, and I rejoice in that. That is indeed a moment to be celebrated. I hope that is helpful to you. Thank you to you. Until next time.